In 1 Samuel chapter 30. Read with me, won't you? Actually, because we may have so many different translations, I'll read it. Pick up with me chapter 30, starting at verse 1. 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 1. Now it happened when David and his men came to Ziklag on the third day that the Amalekites had invaded the south, and Ziklag attacked Ziklag and burned it with fire, and had taken captive the women and those who were there from small to great. They did not kill anyone, but carried them away and went their way. So David and his men came to the city. David and his men came to the city. And there it was, buried with fire, burned with fire, and their wives, their sons, and their daughters had been taken captive. Then David and the people who were with him lifted up their voices and wept until they had no more power to weep. And David's two wives, Ahinoam the Jezreelitess and Abigail, the widow of Nabal the Carmelite, had been taken captive. Now David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and his daughters. But David strengthened himself in the Lord. Get the picture now. Here's what's happening there. Male or female, I believe the Lord can speak to us equally through the words of this passage. It is David, the man of God, who had been out with his team of leaders, and he had been fulfilling holy man of God things. He had been fighting battles all over the place, taking over territory all over the place, enlarging the tents and territories of his people. He was serving the people of God in leadership. He was, in spite of the fact that there was a real enemy, Saul, on his trail, David was out there, and with his cunning was actually living with the Philistines, but working against the Philistines, and had been taking territory all over the place. As he came back to home base, where their families were, where their homes were, as he tried to do the balancing act of serving in leadership for the people of God and coming back to his home, they came back and discovered that his home had been wiped out. They came back and discovered that their families had been taken away. They came back and discovered that while he was busy succeeding, doing God's business out there, that at home had been leveled. It doesn't say that he had been out there with Bathsheba. He had been out there doing God's business with God's people and getting it done successfully. It did not say that he had been out there worshiping idols, that he had taken a little interlude and had gotten caught up in some sin or something like that. God was using him powerfully, effectively, and out of nowhere. A leader, a servant, an organizer, a bold, courageous visionary comes back home, and bold, courageous visionary found out home ain't like he left it. You ever had that challenge? You find out home is not like you left it, but ministry is going well. You find out that the people are growing, but at home there's a dry kind of thing. We're not cussing each other out as much as we used to. We are not throwing things across the room at each other. We're not packing our bags up and threatening to leave. But did you know you could leave your luggage in the closet, sleep in the same bed, sit at the same breakfast table, and be gone a long time ago? And as God blesses in that we put our hands to, sometimes you come home and take a look around and you do not even know where to begin to dig in. There's a dry silence. There's an awkwardness. I know what to do at the business meeting. I know what to do at the staff meeting. I know what to do when they put the church budget in front of me. But sometimes switching gears from that and coming home to where I'm not sitting at the head of the table, delegating this to that one and this to that one, and y'all do this and get it back to me. Sometimes coming home is hard to switch the gears. It's hard to switch the gears from that has consumed us so much and then switch into intimacy and relationship and parenting and submitting to a mate and understanding a mate. And what happened to David and his men was when they came back from doing what God had given them to do and doing it successfully, they came back and found out they had sustained great losses. One of the realities of being a pastor or being a leader in this day and age is because life is so complicated now and ministry is so complex now. We can easily, without noticing it, become problem-centered. That means we are constantly looking out for what's the problem in the ministry. Boom, what's the solution? So we have meetings all the time. Fix this, fix that, do this, do that. And we've got staff to do it, and we've got budget to do it, and we've got help to do it, and we've got prayer to do it. And so sometimes you come back home, and what worked well over there, you want to do it at home. I want staff to fix it. I want budget to fix it. Don't sweat me. How much money you need? Let me write the check, give you the check. Now, will that keep you from sweating me? We want to use what we used over there to make work over here, and it doesn't always work that way.